Oh no. It's okay. We're here.
You are right.
About what?
Everything you touch does turn to shit.
And what better way to start a video than with a healthy, big man burp, courtesy from me to you. And my God, I had a great live stream last night with reality-based Ryan. If you haven't seen the video, I will link it in the description of this one. It was such a fun time, and I hope to be returning tomorrow, except I've got some gate crashing to do on YouTube. I shall say no more, and if you can figure it out, well, good for you. But speaking of gate crashing, Sweet Baby Inc., well, they've realized, no, they haven't realized the error of their ways, because they have forced a studio called Reflector Entertainment to sit back and reflect on their decision of ever collaborating with them for a game called Unknown 9, which at this stage might as well be referred to as an unknown entity. Because we're going to get into this quick article today, folks, because the one that's going to follow this one up is going to be so glorious and right up my street.
Yes, hallelujah, it's the video show. And now, the man the BBC calls
Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
So courtesy of Game Ranks, I never thought I would ever be quoting Jake Baldino's company here. Not that he actually has anything to do with running it as a CEO. I don't believe it's actually his. But Reflector Entertainment ending Unknown 9 IP and will lay off staff, but is moving on to existing Bandai Namco IPs. It would be funny, but no, we don't think Tekken got a new Canadian studio. Oh, that's a bit of a hard kick to the nuts there, guys. 4 months after the failure of Reflector Entertainment's first ever game, Unknown 9 Awakening, the company has announced the sweeping changes leading to the future. What, more expensive games? Higher game prices? Probably not, but let's carry on. Unknown 9 was a big concept transmedia, there's a dodgy word again, media mix project, bringing in together a podcast, graphic novels and text novels to promote what was planned to be a 5 video game series for its universe. Unfortunately, the first game in the series, Unknown 9, flopped critically and commercially when it launched last October on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S. As a result, Reflector has had to make some layoffs. We warned them this would happen. The thing with Game Ranks and other outlets like them, they've got their blinkers on. They're too blind to see it, as Kim Sims once sung in the 90s. Because they know that the minute you hear the dreaded words, Sweet Baby Inc., you better run for cover. You better be like Iron Maiden and run to the hills.
Because they have to consider, like, I say that a lot as a joke, but it's actually very, very true, because if you start to consider the people who are player and audience facing and who have to deal with mitigating harm and with keeping the sentiment around their game and their project positive, there's like a genuine value that you can impress upon them with both ethically and financially. You could say that this is important. And it's also a valid discussion to have, because if you're working with a very thin narrative budget and you work in AAA, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised or dismayed by the amount of money that marketing can give you.
Sweet Baby Inc. do not care if a studio falls under their god-awful spell, because they walk out with a fake narrative that you've got these check marks to tick off one by one, and if you don't meet them, you're gonna suffer. It's a really weird extortion racket, and I don't understand why they've been allowed to get away with it for so long. Again, we're gonna have to assume that maybe the Canadian government are funding Sweet Baby Inc. Because remember, when these consultative companies are getting funds, they're loans. They've got to pay them back at some point. And if you can't pay them back, what do you think's going to happen? You're going to get kneecapped. And I wouldn't feel sorry for the likes of Kim Belair and Jayan Lopez or Black Girl Gamers if they were to one day meet that fate. I'm just saying, and it's all a conspiracy theory, guys. The big fear is that the company could close down, but in our estimation, this is GameRank's estimation, that could not even be the worst possible outcome. The worst could be what happened to Ascendant Studios, the developers behind Immortals of Avenum or Avabum, another new title that failed commercially and critically. Oh boy, Ascendant Studios were furloughed last April, meaning their staff were not allowed to find new work while they weren't receiving pay. To this day, the public does not know if the company exists or if those employees were allowed to exit. Well, a simple search, which I'm not going to do now on LinkedIn, will probably tell you that if their names are available in the public domain, of course. Thankfully, while there's bad news today, Reflector has a brighter future because, like Timbuk 3, the future's bright if you wear shades, right? In a statement on LinkedIn, Reflector CEO Herv Hoard announced that they were no longer making a new Unknown 9 game or games. I mean, why did they think it was a good thing going forward? Although he curiously did not refer to the IP by name, his description makes it clear that he is referring to UK 9, which is such a shame that they were in that predicament. And look, I have covered that game. Anya Chalotra, the actress who was hoodwinked, in my opinion, to play the role of Aruna in India in 1930s. She probably was convinced by her sweet-talking agent to take this deal because it could lead to a bigger path of fame and fortune, but instead Miss Chalotra has to go back to the drawing board and maybe get educated by someone like me or someone who looks at video games and actually plays them and could tell her a few things about Sweet Baby Inc. are a cancerous virus. Don't go anywhere near them. I hope she gets a chance in the future to be involved in a video game again, but with no consultative DEI or ESG involvement. Maybe an indie studio, maybe a big league studio like Sega perhaps, but she wouldn't be the kind of actress that would be on their radar. I'm just spitting balls and quipping hoops. But on that one, ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts and feelings about this? Are you surprised that Sweet Baby Inc., that everything they touch turns to shit? I guess it's absolutely true, and they still have 30 more games in the offing, which can't be good, but it could be good for me and you if we get to monetize off it. And on that one, if you were you, and if you were me, perhaps you should return for the next video.
It was a process. I started with a script, and it was a really detailed script because obviously you can't, so much of the world wasn't formed yet when I got this, or like I couldn't see visuals at least. So it was detailed, and that was what that was my foundation for building this character.
Don't let your dreams be dreams. Dream of me. I'll make your dreams come true. Everything's possible with me.